We did it. We did it. A week of indies where everyone was primo. Howdy, howdy, American Texan here. And if we haven't met, I love to talk about comic books, especially the stories themselves. What do I like and not like? More of the stuff that I do like. And this week, off the indie shelf, we got some bangers. Some great reads from Ghost Machine, Mad Cave. I didn't get to any of the Rippaverse titles, but if you want to know what's great to read inside of comics, not just the indies, but also the big two, I try to do weekly reviews out of what's newly releasing, as well as crowdfunds as well, although I just didn't have time to get to any crowdfunds this week. So if you want to see more comic book, I don't even like calling them reviews. They're more just like me talking about what I like about the book, and you can see a little bit of what's inside the book. Then by all means, like and subscribe so you can get more comic book videos that are strictly, again, about the stories, not the drama and the gossip that everyone else is talking about. Let those channels do those. We're going to stay focused on the books. Let's go over to the table and take a look inside and talk about some great books that came out last week. Now, this is what I would call a reasonable stack of reads for the week, at least just for the indies. Starting with Rook Exodus by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok, and holy cow, what amazing art. This is some of the best art you'll find at your local comic shop. Just beautiful art. Every scene, every page is worth reading. The story continues to be enjoyable with amazing action. And, if you do have a little bit of a spider issue, I can see how this could cause problems. I personally don't like spiders. This one didn't bother me too much, but holy cow. We get some backstory, we get some lore from not only the side characters or the supporting actors in this one, but also kind of why. There's a little bit of context as to why the world engine went down. Just an absolutely amazing read. One of my favorite reads of the week. Next, the finale of Heatseeker Exposed. And yes, this is not family friendly. As you can see, I'm holding some pages that I know are safe for YouTube. I love this series. I wish it wasn't as spicy, or as Wes from Thinking Critical calls it, TNA. To me, I'm all in it for the story, the action, the thriller, and this is awesome. Just an amazing finale. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest you pick up the trade for it. It reads really well as a trade, but I like the single issues. The art is fantastic. Ace Continuato is quickly moving up my list here. Very simple art, but wow, when he does the action, for example, here, he does the action really, really well. You got the and this one just has so many tricks and twists and just really, really good wrap up. I could not ask for a final issue to wrap up as well as this one does. So Heatseeker, I love this series. I could do without all the spiciness, but hey, I'll deal with it for a fantastic, I wouldn't say it's a noir story, but it is very much like a spy thriller. Next, Resident Alien. Let's totally flip the coin on this one. I was a little cold on this chapter, or on this volume, so to speak, the Book of Changes. This is issue 4 of 4, finishing out the Book of Changes volume, which I think is the 8th volume. And this one really turned me around on it. This one had a lot more heart. I was kind of thinking the first 2 issues of this series was a little just kind of and then storytelling, but this one has a lot more heart, a lot more development, just a lot more sentimentality, kind of went back a little bit more of what the original series was going for. I think ultimately this volume should have been maybe 2 volumes because they're trying to tell 2 stories at the same time. But overall, it was very interesting. And we find out at the end that there's going to be one more one-shot, and then the series is done. And I'm okay with that. I really enjoyed the Book of Love. I enjoyed the Book of Life. And then this one, the Book of Changes, I'm a little half and half on. So if we're going to continue down that slope, I am totally fine with this one more one-shot that comes out in 2026. And then the series is done. If you like the TV show, I highly recommend you get the trades or wait for the omnibus when that eventually comes out. That's going to be a fantastic read. Again, kind of flipping it back over, right? We went from family dynamics and aliens to G.I. Joe. Dreadnock War Part 5. Enjoying this one. Goes right back to where we are from. And by the way, this is G.I. Joe by Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley. I got to get better about naming the writer and artist on these with everyone. Amazing art. I really enjoy the Tom Riley art. I know some people say he's not for G.I. Joe, but I think it's a fantastic partnership here. We get a lot of interesting dynamics between Duke and Cobra. The Dreadnoughts are kind of doing their thing. You get an introduction to Pig, who is a big character. And I love, again, the storytelling that the covers are doing. This is a fantastic 5 series issue. So if you are unsure if you are into G.I. Joe, hey, this is a great one to jump into on this little mini series. Comes out every 2 weeks and it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. So this one is fantastic. In the Phantom #3, now I did not like this issue as much as the first two. This one is by Ray Fawkes and Russell Olson, but it is still really enjoyable. I did think the art suffered a little bit. This entire arc really takes place at nighttime, and some of the light work that they have to do to make sure everyone is seen and able to, so you can tell what's happening, I think it does suffer a little bit. For example, here, his face, he comes off a little less superhero and a little more Olympic athlete. That's not a deal breaker, but it is just a little, especially here, it's hard to do the shadows when it's all at night and you got the explosion behind him. What does that look like? He should be shaded like this at the front. It's a little tough to get through on the art side. Well, not tough, but it was less pleasing to get through on the art side. But the story is still very interesting. You got the back and forth, I think it's called a tete-a-tete, between the crime boss and the village leader's son, so to speak. And it's just very interesting. The stakes continue to be raised. I don't know how the Phantom's going to get out of this one. We got some interesting ways that the crime boss has kind of taken over and has Phantom in a little bit of a tough spot. So it's still a fantastic issue, fantastic series. Not cooling down on it at all, but it is nice to know that, hey, we can get even better than this because we've been better. That's the Phantom #3. Absolutely recommend. It's a great time to get in on the Phantom. And then also we've got Nemesis Forever. This is issue 4 of, I think, 5 by Mark Millar and Matteo Scalera. And wow, this one is a little bit of a tough read because you've got Nemesis, you're kind of watching the bad guy, but you're not so much rooting for the bad guy as you are rooting to see how he fails or if he fails. And no matter what, he continues to get out of it. Like, I'm not going to show this middle page, there's a lot of violence on it, but he's stuck in this poison gas environment surrounded by police people. But just in a couple pages, he manages to get a gas mask and now he's escaping. And you're like, oh my goodness, how does he keep doing this? And surprisingly, there is a secret operative, I can't remember her name. She was kind of shoved in here and you kind of follow her for a little bit and she was kind of getting in the way, but now you're really starting to kind of root for her almost. So really great job by Mark Millar, turning someone that maybe other writers would write as a girl boss. She's actually being written like someone I want to root for. I want her to succeed. I want her to do well. And it gets really crazy actually, because you see here, there's a little bit of occult stuff on the cover. That's not a mislead, that's not symbolism. There actually is occult stuff happening in this. The universe is really getting huge. So Nemesis Forever, an absolute pleasure to read. Criminal, this one's by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, as you can see right here. This is a one-shot. And if you enjoyed the Criminal series, this is a must-get. If you are curious about the Criminal series, this you should get because it is only $6. So you're not paying for a full Criminal trade like you normally would. Although you could probably get a used one for $6. But this one highlights everything that Criminal is about. Again, not the best characters, but you really read it more out of a morbid curiosity. And look at this. They got it printed on newspaper print. Or as I call it, pulpy paper. I love that feeling. I love the way the colors show on this. And this follows, I believe, Ricky Lawless. And he has to rob a poker player, so he goes to the hotel. But of course, only in a way that a lawless man can, he messes it up big time. So he basically tries to ingest a upper, but accidentally ingests another drug. So he has to deal with the consequences of that. Very interesting read. But what really fantastic, and what really blew me away on this one was actually after the story's over, there is a welcome. So it's almost like, hey, if you're new here, here's what to expect. And then there's a little of biography of all the different characters in the universe from all the books. So you kind of see what kind of people you can read about in Criminal. And I love this. There's an RPG in the back. This was really interesting to read. I kind of want to do this with my friends and family. It's almost like you're doing an RPG game of Mafia, but all you need is a deck of cards. They give you the character sheets, and you can see everything here is done with cards, and you kind of flip the cards, and that's how you move forward with the story there. Really, really enjoyable. And then they also have these little comic strips here that show, some day in the life stories of the writer going on to the set of the Criminal show that they're filming. And they're really enjoyable for a little one-shot little comic strip. So highly recommend this Criminal. If you are interested in it, definitely check it out. This is really great. I think this is the shortest Criminal they've ever done, and it is a fantastic read. Last thing I read this week, possibly my pick of the week, Speed Racer #5 by David Pepos and David Tinto. Wow. This one is great, but let me tell you, if you're reading Racer X at the same time, it's even better because Racer X is kind of like an interlude. So you've got Speed Racer going in all these races and Racer X is helping them. The characters themselves don't really know why Racer X is helping them, but if you read Racer X, which has only been 3 issues, his issues take place in between the Speed Racer issues, so you kind of see where Racer X is coming from. And actually where this one picks up, Racer X left off. This issue jumps you into the middle of the race, whereas Racer X introduces you to the race, if that makes sense. But man, this is amazing. I never thought I would get, I say this every time I review this book, I never thought I would get into a car comic, but wow, this is fantastic. I remember, like I said, watching this with my mom growing up, especially on sick days, and this just takes me back. But it's not just nostalgia, it's really good storytelling, really good action. The car scenes are fantastic, the explosions, the chase, the near-death experiences and the thrills, all of it is fantastic. And you're really rooting for Speed Racer, and there is a huge reveal at the end. A lot of people can see it coming, but you know, there's still a big reveal, so you kind of, everyone's on the same page moving forward. Speed Racer number 5. I think, yeah, this and Criminal are my pick of the week. I think if you're a grown-up, Criminal's my pick of the week. If you're not, Speed Racer is definitely a great pick for the week. So there you have it, some great reads from the week of December 2nd. And again, I'm going back to my comic shop on Wednesday. I try to go every Wednesday to stay up to date. And if you want to stay up to date and nerd out about the reads that you're reading, by all means, again, subscribe. And if there's any books off the indie shelf that I should be reading, please let me know by commenting down below. Do you disagree with anything that I like? That's fine. Let's talk about it. Let's nerd out about it. Let's get into some comic talk, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. Your time and attention mean the world to me, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Adios.